Hello and welcome to the Generation Zero Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the experimental 44 Magnus. Like all experimental weapons, you have a chance of getting it from finishing base assault missions, base defense missions, as well as looting defeated rivals or the Reaper. Properties: Shrapnel shot. This gun fires unstable projectiles that penetrate the target and materials. As the projectile exits, it shatters into a ball of deadly shrapnel, based on a high-power single-action revolver using 44 cartridges. Or so the game says, although I have to disagree on the deadly part. By the way, it says single action, but it's just semi-automatic. When it comes to ammo, the weapon can hold up to 6 shots of 44 Magnum, with the optimal ammo type seemingly being the full metal jacket option, although put a pin in that. When it comes to attachments, you can add a silencer, a compensator, and, very importantly, a handgun scope, the power being between 2x and 4x, which is very important because you can then add a vision module, which works really well with the weapon if you add an object penetrating visual module, or a dual one that also has OPV, because then you can actually see through walls and aim at the target behind to use the experimental function effectively. I do not recommend full visual modules. Low light vision in this game is just not particularly useful. So all that does is that it adds another setting that you have to cycle through. Now, in terms of ups and downs, it is wrong to think of the weapon as a 44 Magnus that can also shoot through walls. This is basically a Magnus that has to shoot through walls. The problem is the direct hit of the weapon, for some abstract reason, deals very little damage. So in an open field you might as well not even bother. Also, when it comes to this special mechanic, well, the damage isn't exactly great. The biggest problem is how close the target actually has to be to the wall to actually receive damage. This is why I said that full metal jacket seems to be the best ammo type, because realistically it's very hard to set up proper testing. Most of the time you just can't really be sure if you are actually hitting the target or not, which is especially a problem given that this was a niche weapon to begin with. Most of the fighting in Generation Zero happens in open areas. Very rarely are there all that many things to fire through, and when there are, it's very rare for the enemy to be hugging the walls, so you can actually hit them with this thing. If you use the experimental 44 exploding ammo, you get somewhat better results, but in my eyes that's just a waste of uranium. Shock is just so much better that it would be a sin to make 44 explode. When the stars do align, it's not bad, or at least it used to be not that bad, because I actually redid some testing and it seems that the damage was actually reduced and now it's almost pointless to use it. Now you're probably thinking, hey, what about base assaults? There's a lot of walls and a lot of machines there. And you would be right, kinda. The gun is at its best there. However, its best is not that much. Half the time, even in base assault missions, the machines are actually still too far away from the walls to use this thing effectively. And also, the experimental PVG exists, which, if you aim well, it has more damage, more range, both in front and behind the wall from which you're shooting. Bigger mag, it's just better. The only area where the revolver has the upper hand is in terms of handling, because you can have a magnification as low as 2x as opposed to like 6x on the PVG. So you don't have to walk around in your living room while wearing binoculars. Other than that, the PVG is just simply better. Now, do I recommend it? Oh hell no! Just bad, amusingly so. The only time when you might consider it is if you don't have a PVG yet, although even then you might as well just destroy the walls and be done with it instead of trying to use this thing. What this weapon needs is to first of all deal enough damage on the direct shot to one-shot a Phoenix runner, if you hit it either in the fuel tank or the head or something, and the shrapnel shot needs at least half the range of a regular shotgun. And I do mean at least, because it realistically needs more than that. If it sounds fun to you, I mean, try it out, no bad in that. But in terms of performance, it's just basically pointless.